everybody.
Hello.
Hello. What are we doing? We're welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. We are Scott and Rachel. We help committed Christian couples finally end the cycles of conflict and negativity and reclaim the love, passion, and playfulness that they once had. And so we're going to be talking to you ladies who feel isolated and alone in your marriage, and you've been trying to reach out to your husband and trying to approach him, and you feel like you're making it worse because you probably are in your approach. And so we want to dive into that. So if that's you, tune in.
Absolutely, guys. And if you're out there, we want to encourage you to like and subscribe the video that you see today, as well as share it with those that you know that this might apply to. And yeah, Rachel, we do want to dive in with something that we see all the time, and that is ladies. They're well-meaning, and they start to realize that their marriage is drifting apart, that their husband that his heart is becoming distant from them, and there's more agitation. Maybe there's communication breakdown in the home, and they recognize things are not the way that they should be. And most women, when they're in that place, they are usually honorable people. They love their spouse. They want to connect with them, and they try what they know. They try what's natural for them. And that's where what gets confused there, because men and women are different. Men process things different. And so women a lot of times will buckle down on what they know in trying to give to him what she would actually want. And that's where things get really confusing. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's differences between men and women. Contrary to what our culture wants to tell us, there are differences. We're wired differently. We think differently. We behave differently. We have different strengths, different weaknesses, not to stereotype every man and every woman, but certainly there are differences that our genders provide. And so understanding those differences and ladies, for you, if your husband is not acting like a woman and it's frustrating you, well, it's because he's not a woman. It's not a woman. And in your attempts to reach out and say, hey, we need to talk about this. Hey, we really need to fix this. Hey, what are you doing on your phone? Hey, and the constant texting and the constant nagging and the criticism of like, you don't spend enough time with me. You don't ever tell me you love me. It's like you're literally pushing him away. You are making it worse. And we say this with the love in our heart to say that's not what a man needs in that moment. He understands that there's been a breakdown in the marriage. He feels the disconnection, but that is going to push him away.
It absolutely does. And let me just dive in just to stack on top of what you said, is that we talk to a number of women, and you can just sense the heartache. You can sense that they're really trying, like they're trying to do what they know. And that is to try to talk about the things and try to reach out and try to build that bridge. And the way that they do it, it's like it feels more and more like a brick wall. And what makes it worse is like that's what they know to do, and so they keep doing it more and more. And so it makes it even more than just a one-day conversation that pushes him away. It's like this ongoing thing. And then she becomes a nag in his eyes. Then she becomes this constant racket of noise in his ears. Why? It's not because she intends that. He just perceives it in a different way. He perceives it in a way that's like very, she's like attacking me. She's condescending towards me. She doesn't respect me. She only wants to fight about things. Like this is what tends to go through his mind, even if she's well-meaning. She can be very well-meaning. And the husband, he usually is going to process that very, very differently. He's going to see that as the opposite of love. Like that's where some terrible words start being used about women when she's showing up that way. And she gets fearful, and she sees that he's slipping away further, and she sees she's trying. And we see over and over and over and over again, women think, well, I'm trying. I guess I need to try harder. And what does that do?
Yeah, it just continues to push him away further, break his heart. I should say, put the wall up around his heart toward you. And then the defensiveness will start showing up. You always criticize me. You're so negative. You're so critical. And then, what is happening in the heart of the man in that moment? I can tell you, he's feeling more and more like a failure. Like he knows it's not the way it should be, and he wants to fix it. Men in general like to fix problems. They like to fix problems. And if they don't know how, it feels yuck, right? It feels like it demasculates you in a way. And so then for you to like go and say, we need to fix this, we need to fix this. It just, what he hears is, I'm a failure, I'm a failure.
So true.
That's what he feels, right? Am I wrong? And we know this so
right,
well because
right.
we lived it for 8 to 10 years, I would say.
I'm laughing because I just have to laugh just because you're saying, I know full well what's going on in the heart of the man. I'm like, you're a woman. How do you know that? Because you are awesome at what you do, and you know me,
well,
and
because,
you know what happens.
And because we lived it.
And yes.
And because you've told me, because I didn't know when we were stuck in that dark place, and I was feeling very unloved, very neglected. And so the only way I know is to lash out is to try to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And it's like, and again, that just, you're just hearing, I'm a failure. I'm a failure. We process things differently. And so ladies, if you are desperate to fix your marriage, you want to have that close and connected marriage, and yet you find that every time you're bringing it up to your husband, he's shutting down even more. I'm going to just ask you, are you coming at him with a head-on approach, like, hey, let's fix this right now?
Not going to work.
Right? What does that head-on approach do to a man?
Oh man, it makes him shut down. It makes him go the other way. It makes him want to get out of there. It makes him uncomfortable. And if you're coming at him like this and saying, we need to get help, it's like, I ain't getting help. No way. I don't want anything to do with that. I just want to get away right now. That's what goes through the mind of a man most times, not every time, but usually.
Yeah.
And so a woman will often push harder, and that will make it even worse. And so don't misunderstand. We hear what your perspective is, what you're trying to accomplish. What we're just suggesting is what you thought was the solution is actually not the solution. It's the opposite of what a man needs. And obviously we're dialing it in specifically from this perspective for the sake of today. But you're absolutely right. It's going to stir the pot. It's not going to make it better. It's just going to upset him, because what he perceives it to be usually is the exact opposite of the way he hears love. A man hears love by being lifted up, encouraged, respected, honored, whatever you want to say. That's how he hears love. And if he's hearing nagginess, it's undermining what he needs, not what he wants, what he needs.
Yeah. It's literally cutting off the oxygen to his soul. The man is designed to be in a place of honor and to need that honor. Women need it as well, but more than that, what we need is tenderness and affection and love. And God just designed us this way. He designed us differently. And so if we're coming at our husband head-on approach, ladies, it's not going to work. And if you're coming off in a negative or critical way, it only further solidifies in his mind that he's a failure, that he can't do it, that it isn't working, that, look, she's just a nag. She's just going to, do it more. Because here's the thing.
Both of them. You're right.
It does. And, a lot of people, they try counseling and they say, well, let's just go get counseling and let's see if that'll help. And they go to the counselor, and the counselor will beat up on the husband. And he's like, forget that. I don't want to go back. Nobody wants to go get beat up. And of course, we all need to be confronted with our sin. We all need to be face to face with the things in our lives that we need to fix. But that's the power of transformational coaching. That's what we do. It's very different. We don't come at you and say, you need to fix this, you need to do this. We help you show up as the best version of you, and really help you to start shifting how you think of yourself and how you think about your situation, so that things can be different. You can show up differently.
Absolutely. And let me just stack on that, Rach. I think I'll just share, ladies, what you need to do is not complex. It's not confusing. It's not actually very hard. It's quite simple, actually. It's what he needs is encouragement. Women get stuck in the 5 love languages. What love language does he need? Put that aside. What does he need? He needs encouragement. And that's what love looks like to him. And I often say he needs stroking. And what stroking? All of it. All stroking. Physical, emotional, spiritual. That's what he needs. And when he receives that, he feels much more of an affection and connection with you. And it's the exact opposite of what you would think that he might need. And so when you start giving to him that, and just say, honey, I realize that this isn't the way that it should be. I love you so much. We can be so much more. Like, what would be possible if we got out of some of these ruts? What would be possible if we got someone out of these vicious cycles? What would be possible for us if we could not get stuck in arguing all the time? Like, what could happen? Where could we go? How could God use us? And just by approaching your husband in a different way can be an absolute game changer, whether that means you need more help or whether that just means in the everyday. But ladies, I'm telling you, Rachel's telling you, we're both telling you, what you think they need is probably the opposite. And when you give to them that opposite and that encouragement, it can be a real powerful way to connect with a man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, ladies, if and you might find yourself in the emotional state of just feeling so lonely and anxious and so sad and unloved. And so then it makes it so hard to show up that way. It's so hard to encourage somebody when you feel defeated, when you feel unloved. And you're like, well, what about me? What about me? It's so fair. And here's the thing, ladies, it's like, it could be up to you. What if it's up to you to show up as the best version of you to fix your marriage? What if he's just in a place where he just feels so defeated? He's been beating himself up for so long. And then one more thing of you, it's going to put him over the edge. What if you could show up as the best version of you and learn how to release those negative feelings, learning how to regulate your own state, learning how to show up with happiness in your heart despite your situation? Wouldn't that be more attractive? And wouldn't that be a way to woo him back? We're telling you, it's so much simpler to woo a man back, honestly, than it is to confront him and to try to change him and try to fix him. Mm-hmm. So ladies, if that's you, we want to encourage you to reach out and book a call with us. Mm-hmm. You can go to turnaroundmarriage.com/call and we'll help you get to the bottom of what's not been working in your marriage. And then we want to hear about what you dream and hope it could be. How can we help you level up to show up differently for your man? And then we can show you and help you create a strategy to get there. That might involve our help. It might involve something else. But either way, we're going to serve you and give you clarity on that call. So
absolutely,
that's what we have.
So good. Yeah. So just a simple message today. We hope, guys, that this encourages you guys, ladies, this encourages you out there and try it. Try what we suggested. Go see what happens if you rub the back of his neck. See what happens if you rub his head or massage his shoulders. He's not going to stop you. I don't care what's going on. He's not going to stop you. I'm just telling you, it's the way it is. Yes. And see what happens.
Yes.
So we wish you guys lots of love and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.